Hey everyone, happy Monday. I hope everyone had a great weekend. Hope everyone enjoyed the nice weather that we had. It was beautiful out. I was outside, I mowed the lawn and I fertilized. Sorry, you can hear my dogs barking in the background. They're outside right now this morning stretching their legs. Couple things for this week, nothing too out of the ordinary. A little bittersweet. Yesterday was supposed to be our spring thing. I was kind of wishing that we were able to do that. That's one of my favorite parts of the things that we do every year. But hopefully we'll be able to get back to it in a year or so. This week for your assignments, nothing too hard, like I said. Social studies. Today, you're going to be taking a look at, remember, last week we drew a map of just your room. Today, you're going to expand it. You're going to draw a map of your entire house. Now, if you have more than like 2 stories or 3 stories on your house, just pick one of those stories. So pick the bottom floor or the top, middle floor, the top floor, whatever you want. But you're going to draw a map out with regards to that. I'm going to go over that a little bit more in the Zoom meeting this morning. So if you want to jump on there, you can. I'll also touch on it this evening at 7 o'clock, also in that Zoom meeting as well. So this isn't due until Wednesday, but you're going to try to draw out a floor plan map of your house. Whose house, what room goes by what room, and the like. All right. For spelling, you're starting on the first page of Unit 29. Write those words 2 times on a separate piece of paper. Make sure you're sending those to me so that way I know that you have started your studying for your test. Please make sure you get those to me as soon as you get those done. All right, first, our kindergarten. With regards to your math today, you're going to be taking a look at numbers 1 through 10 at the top, and you're going to have a parent or an adult read the directions to figure out what number you're going to be. So like the first one says, start at number 3. And then move forward 2 spaces. So if you go at 3, go over to the right, since you're going forward. 4, 5, you land on 5, and it says color that one red. You're going to do that, I think it's 5 times. So there's going to be 5 different numbers you have to color. So be very careful, follow those directions, listen to the directions being read to you very carefully, and figure out what number goes where. On the back side, you're doing a dot to dot all the way up to 20 today. They upped the ante. So make sure you do those all the way up to 20, and make sure that when you are all done, you are going to write those or color that picture for me nice and neatly. With regards to your super kids for today, sorry I wasn't on Friday. Mr. Holman was feeling a little under the weather. I wasn't feeling too good on Friday. And I sent a text, but for some reason it didn't go through. So I apologize for that. But I will be back on Tuesday. But for your super kids today, I'm going to send that story that we read last Tuesday to your mom. Make sure you read that story. Try as hard as you can so it deals with all those colors. Remember the super kids were dumping paints and all that different things to make new colors? Please make sure you do that. So please read that story as best as you can with regards to that. Then you got to pretend like you're one of the super kids. And what you're going to do is I gave you a shape of a bus. I want you to color and design that bus as best as you can. Just like the super kids were creating their own club using that old dusty, rusty, gross looking bus. You're going to design and create your own bus. So I want you to design and create your own bus. Pretend like you're one of the super kids and you're in charge of painting and designing that bus. You go ahead and do all of that for me there. All right? All right. Enjoy your day. First grade, with regards to your math today. Today, your assignment's not too hard. On the first page, it's just a bunch of adding problems. Most of them deal with adding by 9s. So be careful there. Just adding up, starting at 9 and then counting up from there. You guys have been doing an awesome job at that. Keep it up. Okay, for your math guided practice, oops, I turned the page the wrong way. My book was the wrong way. On page 107, you're going to work with the number 97 on the first page. Write that 4 more times. For number 2, you're going to write, it says, Dan wrote 5 adding 9 facts. So you could do 9 plus 1, 9 plus 2, 9 plus 3, 9 plus 4, 9 plus 5. There's 5 facts. Okay, you don't have to write the answers down. And that says he wrote 3 more. 9 plus 1, 9 plus 2, 9 plus 3. So he started with 5 and he added 3. So we're going to do 5 plus 3. So you're going to write that on your number sentence line. 5 plus 3 equals, and then count how many problems there were and write that on your answer line there. Number 3 is a little bit trickier. It says, point to the cake that's divided in half. If I divided something in half, I don't have anything near me. I was going to show you, but if I took a cookie and I cut it in half, how many pieces did I make? That's when you cut it into 2. So you're going to find the one piece that they cut it into 2 pieces, and then it says color 1/2 of it red. Then it says point to the cake that's divided into thirds. thirds is 3 pieces. In color 1 piece, they're blue. And then the last one is sixths, which is cut into 6 pieces. In color 1 piece, green. Not too hard there. All right? So just make sure you read those directions very carefully. On the bottom part, dealing with money on number 4, remember how much is a nickel worth? A nickel. How much is a nickel worth? 5 cents. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 nickels. Let's count by fives. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Then we have 2 pennies. So 25, 26, 27. So you write 27, and don't forget to write your cent sign. So remember, when we write that, it's going to look something like this, 27, and the cent sign, remember, it's like a C with a line through it. So make sure you do that just like that, okay? So make sure you're careful when you're writing that. Then at the bottom it says, show me 12:30. Okay, so 12:30. Remember, if it's half past, that means it deals with the number 30. So that goes behind. And if it's 12:30, it's 12:30. So the little hand will be pointing to the 12. And the big hand points directly down to the 6. Okay, so it should be a straight line there. All right, that's the front side. On the back side, you got to fill in the missing numbers. You start with 81. What comes after 81? 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, all the way up. And then do the same thing starting at 91, 92, 93, all the way up to 100, all right? So that should be pretty simple. And then you have a little word problem there again for number 2. Oops, let me flip my book around. I can't read upside down. Dealing with adding 9 facts. Now you're going to do 4 and 2. So make sure you add those up carefully. Number 3, same exact thing. Color the one that's in sixths, color 1 piece green. One that's in thirds, color 1 piece blue, and one that's in half, color 1 piece red. Add the nickels up again, and add the pennies to it, and then number 5, show me 2:30 there. Okay? So if you got the front side, you should be able to do the back side pretty simply there. Okay, with regards to your reading today, on page 211, well, first thing I guess is that you need to watch my YouTube video. Go to, remember, Mr. H's Classroom on YouTube, or COL. Mr. H's Classroom, COL. That's where Mr. Holman, I have those videos there. I have another video. It's called The New Friend. I'll be having that. I'll have that posted up there. So please make sure you watch that video, okay? Because you're going to need it in order to finish out your assignment. On page 211, you need to use those words up in the word bank to go with match each clue, okay? So match the clue with each word. That should be pretty simple. Same with page 212. You need to read the sentence and then draw me a picture that, like you're the illustrator again. Draw me a picture that goes with that sentence. Make sure you color the picture, please. Okay? Some of you have forgotten to color the picture. Make sure you color the picture. Anytime you draw me a picture, you always need to color it. All right? Same with page 213. You got an invitation to a birthday party. Read that invitation and then tell me what would be something that you might bring to this party. Draw a nice big picture there. And then on page 214, this is why it's important that you watch that story about the new friend, because you can only answer these questions if you watch the story. So you need to watch that story on YouTube and then answer those questions there. All right? All right. If you have questions, feel free to get in touch with me. Rodney, with your reading today, on page 46, you have to read that little story up there about Silly Squirrel. Okay, so you're going to read that story, and then there's 3 lines at the bottom, the beginning, the middle, the end. You have to write just one sentence. Write one sentence about something that happened at the beginning, one sentence about something that happened in the middle, and one sentence that happened at the end of that story. All right, so make sure you just write. It's working with summarizing something. Pick out. Don't write something that's not important. Make sure it's something that is important that goes in there. Okay, 47, you got to read the little story there, and then you got to answer the question. The answer is not given in the story, but you have to draw a conclusion. That means take your best guess. What do you think might happen next? Why was the school closing on the first one? Why did the bean seed not grow at first? So you have to draw a conclusion. You have to guess an answer according to the information that you read about in that story. Then the last part, it deals with the ooh words, okay? So ooh could have the rule, clue, fruit, so they'll have that ooh sound, or you could have the u sound, like few or beauty. So there's 2 sounds you're going to work with, the ooh, like the letter U, or the u, okay? So you have to read the story or the word, and then if it has the oo, circle the oo. If it has the ew, circle the e or the y-o-o. And then you got to tell me what the letters that make that sound. So, like the first one, they give you an example. Grew. Grew is ooh. Okay, that makes the ooh sound, not a u. It's an ooh. So they circle the o-o, and what letters make it? E-w. So let's look at number 2. True. It's not true. It's true. So it's the o-o. So we circle that. And what letters make the ooh sound? It's the u-e. What about suit? Oh, oot. There's another ooh. So we circle the o-o again. But now we go to number 4. Beauty. Beauty. That makes the ew sound. So we circle the y-o-o. And what makes it? That's the a or e-a-u. Okay? So you got to do that for all 16 of those problems. Really, it's kind of tricky because they're very similar, ooh and you. But if you hear the y sound in it, then you circle the y-o-o. If you don't hear the y, circle just the o-o. Okay? All right, that shouldn't be too hard. All right, and if you have questions, feel free to get in contact with me, call me, or whatever. All right? Second grade, with regards to your math today, you guys are going over some review. The first page, you get to be the teacher, find the 4 mistakes. Don't forget to do the backside because there's some subtraction problem on there. Then you're working with subtracting by 9s on the second page. And then when you get to page 105, it's a little bit trickier. Some of the things, they're the same concepts we've been doing, but they're just on the paper a little different than we've done. So like number 1, it says, Leah said that whenever she adds 2 odd numbers, the answer is always an even. Add 3 pair of odd numbers to see if she's right. So remember, odd numbers are 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Okay? So odd plus odd. We might do 1 plus 3. Okay? Write that. Write your answer, and then tell me, is your answer odd or even? Do that for all 3 of those problems up there. And see if every time you add 2 odd numbers, do you get an even? Remember, even's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, something like that. Okay? Number 2, that's what we've been doing the last couple of weeks now, figuring out whether or not you can share. So like for number 2, you got 13 markers. Remember, if it's an odd number, you're always going to have to put an extra in there. And then for the second one, you have 8 markers. Number 3 is what we worked with the other day. First of all, tell me if it's 8:25. You got to show me 8:25 in the box square and also on the clock. Remember counting by 5s and figure out where they go there. And then for number 4, you got to round each one of those numbers to the nearest 10. So like 73, it's between 70 and 80. We look at the 3. That means use the smaller. So our answer is 70. Number 5, you got to get out your ruler and measure that box that goes around our clock. It's a square. You got to measure each one to the nearest centimeter. Make sure you use the 1 to 30 side on your ruler. And then it says find the perimeter. And remember, to find the perimeter, it means you have to add all 4 sides up. Then at the very bottom, you have a bunch of adding and subtracting. For both subtracting, make sure you're borrowing. And also make sure when you are adding that you're carrying that number up on top of the next part. On the back side is almost exactly the same exact stuff that we are just going through. So it shouldn't be too difficult. You should be able to have everything, just different numbers. If you get the concepts on the front, you should be able to get the concepts on the back, okay? All right, with regards to your reading, second graders, for today on page 87, you are just filling in the missing blank there using the words from the spelling words, and then make sure it rhymes with the word that is in dark print. That will give you the clue. That will help you with that. And then at the bottom part, it says just write each word that goes with each clue. Not too hard. On page 88, it's one of our last, we're finishing up our look at biographies, those stories that you read. You read about 3 people, Ellen Ochoa, Theodore Roosevelt, and Wilma Rudolph. You got to tell me, why are those people, how are they so alike? There was a lot of ways that they were alike. What do you think is the most important way of how those people were alike? Write that on the top line. And then at the bottom part, you got to fill in the chart. This is how I am like, tell me how you're like Ellen Ochoa. How are you like Theodore Roosevelt? How are you like Wilma Rudolph? You might not be exactly like them, but there's probably something that you read about in their life that you could think, hey, I did that before, or that's something that is similar to me. So write that in there. All right. On page 89, this deals with time words. Time words you got to go and find 9 time words. Time words could be anything from the time of day, excuse me, my nose is a little itchy, to the date, or it could be words like then, after, today, next, during. You got to find those 9 words. It could be the date. It could be one of those words I just said. It could be a year. Okay, 9 time words that you need that are written about Dr. Seuss in that story, and circle them. Then on the backside, you have to deal with abbreviations. So instead of writing the word Mr., you could write MR for Mr. Or instead of writing doctor, you could write DR. Or instead of writing Thursday, you could write capital THURS, period. What you need to do is write each abbreviation in the correct blank there at the top, and then write 2 sentences using an abbreviation. Probably like, Mr. Holman is the best. Mr. MR, period. Holman is the best. You could write something along those lines, okay? All right. That's enough. I think that's it for 2nd grade today. 3rd graders, today you're going to be taking a look at estimating, but using multiplication problems. So if I said I had 36 pieces of candy, and there was 8 of us kids, and each of us had 36 pieces of candy. So there's 38 kids, and each kid had 36 pieces of candy, and it said about how many pieces of candy were there all together. Well, to do that, you're going to take this number right here and round it. So 36, what's that closest to? That's closest to 40. Okay, so I rounded that to 40, and then I multiply it by 8. So I take 40 times 8. Well, 8 times 0 is 0. And then 8 times, that's 32. So there was about 320. So when it says about, you don't estimate both numbers, you estimate just the biggest number. So another one would be if Jamal counted 195 pages or words on one page, about how many words would he read in 5 pages? So 195, if we rounded that, that's close to 200. So 200 times 5, that's 1,000. So there's your answer. Okay? So if you see the word about in the word problem, know you have to round that one of those numbers. Usually it's the bigger number. And it's either to the nearest 10, or if it's 3 numbers, round it to the nearest 100. All right? When you look at your assignment today, the first few problems, those all deal with word problems. Nothing that you haven't been doing. Number 3, you got to write out the word. They give you a number in the word problem. You just got to write it out using words. Number 5, they rewrote. They kind of did the opposite of expanded form. You got to write the actual number. Number 6, you got to get out your paper rulers and measure those to the nearest 1/4 inch and on that rectangle. Number 7, you put those in order from smallest to biggest. I think the rest, number 9 is what we did on Friday. You got to do the parentheses first. Remember, always subtract first and then add. 10 is multiplying. 11, there you go. Number 11 is what we just talked about. Estimate the product. So you got to round 263 to the nearest, 683 to the nearest 100, and then multiply that by 4. I think everything else on here should be pretty self-explanatory with regards to your assignment. You're going to have to use a ruler for number 19. And it says 1 inch is 8 miles. So if it's 2, 16. If it's 3, 24. 4, 32. Okay? And I think the rest of that should be pretty self-explanatory. So if you have questions, feel free to check it over and get in contact with me. With regards to your reading today, you're going to be reading a story called Trapped by the Ice. If you've ever been to the Detroit Zoo and you've gone to the Penguin House, there's a whole exhibit all about this guy called Shackleton right when you walk into the front door. And this story is about that guy where that whole exhibit was made after this guy. So you got to read that story, and then on a separate piece of paper on page 246, you're going to answer questions 1 through 5 on that page. So write that on a separate piece of paper, write your answers on that page. Then on page 119 in your workbook, you have a word problem, or you got to fill in the message according to the voice message that was left. So you're going to take a written message by using the information from what was on the voice recording for the top part and the bottom part. So you got to find those, fill in those blanks by looking at the information on the left side of each one of those. Then page 120 deals with some vocab from that story, Trapped by the Ice. So read that story carefully and answer those questions. This is the first time you've got to answer some questions like that. So it's kind of a test to see how well you're going to read the story, okay? Fourth graders, with regards to your math, it's page lesson 85 today. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Mr. Wasser. And fourth graders, for your reading, Leah and Javon and Dylan, you guys are going to be doing the exact same thing that the third graders were doing. And that's, you're going to read the story, Happy Birthday, Dr. King. And that's on page 535 through 550 in your hardcover book. And then what you need to do is on page 550, there's 5 questions. Actually, there's 6, but I'm only making you do the first 5 and answer each question on a separate piece of paper. Okay? So read those very carefully and do those and do that. Answer those questions very carefully. And then in your workbook on page 101, first of all, you're dealing with what is a hero. So you got to tell me, what is a hero? What do you think a hero is? Write that in the first box underneath where it says what is a hero. Then, who are some of your heroes? There's 3 boxes there. Tell me 3 people who you think are your heroes. And then at the bottom 3 boxes, you need to tell me 3 characteristics of someone that might be considered a hero. So if you thought Superman was a hero, a characteristic might be someone who's big and strong. Okay, so strong might be, or brave might be somewhat another word to describe a hero. So the bottom 3 are words that describe a hero. The side 3 are 3 people that you might consider a hero, and then the top box on the left, you need to tell me how would you define what the word hero means. Page 103, you got some words from our story that you read: boycott, civil rights, fair, protest, stupendous. Do the crossword puzzle there at the top, and then write a sentence using 2 of those vocab words in that sentence. Okay? All right, I think that's about it for Monday. I hope everyone has a great Monday. I hope to see most of you on our Zoom meeting this morning with our special guest. I'm excited for it. Should be pretty cool. Otherwise, have a great Monday. If you have questions, again, feel free to reach out, contact me. I'll be just sitting at my kitchen table working. So please, please, please make sure you get in contact with me. Let me know if you have any questions. All right? Have a great day. See ya.